It's time to turn the page. Welcome to another episode of Point C. As always, I'm Christopher Cape. Thanks for joining me. And I hope that all of you are feeling connected out there and ready to get this going. Without further ado, welcome to the episode. Hey, welcome. This is Christopher Cape. This is episode 2 of Point C. It's going to be a real quick one, I'm sure. I just had a super busy day today, and how am I going to arrange this here? Where's the camera? There it is, right there. Okay. I've had a super busy day today, and yeah, I had this thought. I was ready to tuck it in, and I had this thought that was basically like quantifying art. I just have noticed that. Oh, first of all, if you don't recognize this view, this is downtown Guelph. I'm at the Civic Museum. This was one of my very first spots to paint. It was up on the hill, a huge, great vista of all these historic buildings and churches back here. As you can see, the light, it's sunset right now. The light is fantastic. And to be honest, it feels weird not to be... how am I going to do this? Does this feel weird to people? That I'm like, not, it feels like, how did it before I did it? And it was like looking right at it. Okay, that's better. Yeah, so, yeah, that's the sunset. It's fantastic out right now. It's Saturday night, so this place is going to be jammed with people, smoking weed and drinking, which I'm pretty hyped that people get to do this up here. I remember a time when it was under construction and you couldn't be up here, and it was hard to even hang out here. It's like a crescent moon. It's super beautiful. Perhaps at the end I'll tilt the camera so that you can see it. But anyways, I've been really caught up into this idea of quantifying art, or quantifying my success in art. It's a weird thing. I've been talking to a lot of people about it. I've been in Stratford a lot this weekend already, and people coming up to me and asking me about selling, being a pro versus being an amateur, what that means, what that looks like. I'm not really going to get into it, other than I'll say that it really all has to do with quantifying art. And by quantifying, I mean having a unit of measurement that you can add or subtract and use that as a basis to gauge your success or gauge your failure. So the easiest one, and the one that people often ask me about, is selling. Is this my full-time job? Do I sell paintings? How much do I make? It's the same feeling that you would probably get if you went to a family reunion, if you left university and you were in between a job and university, or if you in between high school and university, some point where you didn't have what you would imagine the stereotypical career or idea of success. Sorry, mosquito. Idea of success in your mind that would make people think you were a good person or think you were valuable. And it all really has to do with quantifying, right? And I'm sure you know where this is going. Quantifying in art usually amounts to this idea of being able to support yourself solely from selling paintings. I'm not talking about teaching. I'm not talking about instructing. I'm not talking about workshops, about working at an art store, working at a summer camp for arts, nothing like that. We have set, as artists, at least this is me, maybe I should just speak for me, myself as an artist has set a lofty goal that the only way that I can be successful or valuable or say that I'm a professional artist is by making sustaining my life and my lifestyle purely from the sale of my creation. That's it. Because how else are you to make units of measurement out of art, right? You can't really say paintings, because if that were the case, you could just whip off a million paintings. But internally, you might not be happy with those paintings. You might not think that they're successful. Also, you could say that maybe it's successful paintings that you quantify, but it's too variable, and that type of success is fleeting, I find, where I can make a painting that I think is the greatest painting I've ever made, and immediately, or maybe even the next painting out or the next day, that feeling is totally gone. And to me, that's the addicting quality of painting, is that it feels every time I step up to the canvas, every time I step up to the plate, my record is wiped clean. I'm coming fresh, I'm coming new. In fact, having a good painting or coming off of a great painting, I feel like maybe even there's a bit more pressure, right, to live up to that, to make the next step forward. So really, we're left with selling paintings, money, moolah, a unit of measurement that can be understood by the general public, right? And I basically look at how many units I have, and I gauge whether or not I'm successful, or I'm valuable, or I'm even valid in saying that I'm an artist based on some internal level of units, right? Dollars. Now, the great thing and the troubling thing about humanity, or me as a person, and I'm sure that most of you can identify with this, is that unit of measurement is always moving, right? I had heard this thing on an Instagram therapy session, aka scrolling through reels late at night, where they were saying that oh dang, I just lost it. The sky is so beautiful right now. That's the problem with being outside, or the blessing of being outside. So it's always moving on me, right? Like, the level's always moving on me. And the reason that's good is because I'm always hungry to learn, to grow, to be better. But the Instagram psychotherapy session that I had was basically saying the person, and you've probably seen this reel, the person of you as a person 3 years ago would be hyped as shit to be living your life right now, right? Give or take the time period, right? But you get the idea, right? Like, you're living the dream of your earlier self. And if that's the case, why does it feel like I'm still fighting and still struggling? And it's this idea of quantifying art. Now, I'm using art or paintings, but I guarantee that most of you out there are plugging in your own lifestyle, your own career, the thing that you're striving for, as quantifying that, right? Whether it's yoga, whether it's your job, whether it's time with your family, whatever it is you are aligning yourself with as your identity, you try plugging that in. If you're not doing it, try plugging it in. Because essentially what I'm saying is that I've realized that, yes, I'm quantifying my art the only way I know how, with money. But if I'm not careful, which in the last few days I haven't been careful, and I've started to align with that. So I've started to make decisions based on my results of how much quantity I have. So I am going to continue on the same path. I am going to be successful on the same path based on the quantity of sales that I have. Or I'm going to change my path based on the number, right? Whether it's low or high. I'm going to adjust based on this quantifiable source. Which, you know what, if that's what a person wants to do, that's fine. The issue with me is that it's external. I'm getting external feedback from people and basing my passion and my love and my direction in life on something that somebody else is doing, right? That would be like saying, I'm gonna start quantifying compliments. So the more compliments I get, I'm gonna head in that direction with behavior versus the negative reactions or criticisms I get in my paintings. I'm gonna move away from where I'm headed instead of using my own internal compass and my own heart to guide what I want or where I want to go. Whew. That's a tough thing to swallow, to be honest with you. I didn't know that this is what I was going to talk about. I had an idea as I was walking up here. Well, I took the shred sled out and had a little skate out here, but you get the idea. Like that's a powerful thing for me. And I hope you get the idea, because that's huge. I've been doing that my entire life, and I've always blamed the culture and the society, but at some point I have to see the role that I'm playing in it for myself. I'm perpetuating this behavior and this idea, because the other way, just following my heart, my intuition, my instinct in the direction I want to go, is scarier. It feels like there's no backing. And I wonder if part of that has to do with this idea of not trusting myself fully, not believing in myself. I'm training my gut, training my intuition more and more every day, and I'm following my heart. It feels so fucking good to follow my heart. It feels so good. It's scary a lot of the times, to be honest with you, but it does feel really good. And I'm willing to bet that it feels good for you too. So the more I talk about this, the more I realize that this is why I stopped skateboarding, right? That I was getting a signal that I was quantifying. I was quantifying results, and I was quantifying people's reactions and what I was getting out of it. Now, there's a difference, I think. I mean, maybe comment below or send me a message, but there's a difference between equal and unequal quantifying, right? So equal being each part or measurement is equal, right? $1, $2, $3. And then there's unequal ones where it's like a compliment from your parental figure, a compliment from your best friend, a negative reaction from your boss, a negative reaction from a loved one. Those are not equal. You hold those elements in certain esteem or not esteem. And I don't know if this holds true for today's youth, but the idea of you have to get out of high school, be responsible, make something of yourself, get a job, get a career, that house, kids, wife, husband, partner, however you want to look at it. There's this mold, I don't know where I got it from, but I've adopted it, and it feels like this pathway has caused me a lot of crisis and a lot of heartache, because I'm measuring where I'm at now versus where I think I should be. And that still has to do with quantifying, right? Using a measurement. I'm gathering up all these things of where I'm at now. I've got a bushel of Christopher Cape here, and I'm measuring them to the bushel of Christopher Cape that I feel like society or myself or what I deem, where I deem I should be is at. And I'm weighing the two. And I think on good days, when things are flowing, the Christopher Cape of now is coming in heavier. And if I'm having a day where I'm feeling a bit insecure, maybe the paintings don't work out, I'm not getting the same external feedback, the Christopher Cape where I think he should be is winning, right? And so essentially I'm at the whim of these measurements. I'm not moving through the world freely and accepting myself as a being in flux, a being in change, able to have likes and dislikes that seem to be at odds with each other, right? Like the Christopher Cape that loves to get hammered and smoke weed and bomb hills on a skateboard is the same Christopher Cape that loves intermittent fasting, waking up before the sun and doing yoga and meditating. And I don't know if it's because I'm a Gemini, but that push and pull, I feel like, is entirely to do with quantification. Or maybe I shouldn't say that. I haven't really looked into this fully. It just feels like judging my bank account or judging my sales or judging myself with items that I can add up on a chart feels like it has a greater hold on me right now. And I wonder if that is a good thing or a bad thing. I wonder if that means that perhaps it is a safety mechanism. Perhaps it is something that I'm using and I have used to sort of act as a roadmap to living. And I wonder if the heart that I feel, the intuitive part of me that acts out of feeling, how much of that has to do with quantifying. And it's interesting because financially, this is the most secure I've been from art in, I don't even, probably ever. And it's interesting that these things are coming up for me because I'm falling into this, I honestly feel like a Wolf of Wall Street type character because it feels like what I have isn't enough, right? If I'm not selling X amount a day, X amount a week, X amount a month, it's not enough. It's got to be more. There's a never-ending search, essentially capitalism, right? There is not a place where I can sell, let's say, 3 paintings a month. That would be perfect for the rest of my life. No, not a chance. And maybe you've felt this way before. Maybe this is where you're at right now in your art career. And sorry if this is art heavy and you're not an artist, but I feel like it has real application to a life that's not about painting or not about creating objects for consumption, whether the consumption is purchase or consumption is viewing or listening or whatever. I wonder if this is what it feels like to be a stockbroker or somebody who's really tied into this capitalist society. And maybe this is another part of me that needs to be destroyed or crushed. It's this admitting that, hey, listen, you are part of the system. You are not a punk rock anarchist kid who is fighting the system and working underneath it. You're within the system, right? I am part of the system, regardless of the role I play. And if I think about our country as a human body, right? Like, what type of, am I the cell? Am I part of the brain? Am I the dopamine? Am I the kidney? What am I? It doesn't matter. I am part of that system. And am I past the point of finding out or searching for what part of this system I am? Or am I trying to continually be a better and better part of the system, aka make more money? And is that all there is? It's a tough thing. I'm gonna have to listen back to this one. I said that there'd be no editing, but there might be editing to this, so I'm not quite sure what we're gonna do. Now we've got some young folks coming up here. We'll see if they clue into what I'm doing. They seem to be getting close to me. Oh no, they're sitting down and talking to themselves. I think they got a 40, so I can get with that. It's been a while since I drank 40s, the Blue Bull, the Schlitz, but I don't frown on anybody else doing it. So yeah, that's a very, very interesting point. So I wonder if I've been quantifying this the whole time. Part of me wants to eavesdrop on this piece the whole way, but yeah, I don't know. And so let's do a little anthropological research here. I wonder if these people actually feel this way as well. If they are outside of tonight, maybe even in this friend group right now, if they are quantifying their role in this friend group. How many times people laugh, how often they get texted, right? And that's fucked up because I've totally done that before. In fact, I've had relationships end because of that, where I felt like I've been confused about the texting protocol and how often a person texts, and if they don't text the same thing, oh man, this is embarrassing to admit, but it's true, this idea that like if a person doesn't text you, like if a loved one, like a romantic partner, doesn't text you as soon as they wake up in the morning, good morning, but they go around on their day, I'm quantifying that and using that as information on whether they like me or not, right? How many times have I done that? Probably a lot now that I think back. Oof. Thank God I'm in public. I probably have a breakdown right now thinking about how many times I've done that. Whew. Okay, so this is how it's tying in. Oh, I had no idea how this talking about quantifying art was going to tie into life, into my life, into others' lives, because I have a feeling that a lot of us have done that. At least I hope I'm not alone, right? Whether it's a friend group, right, and you are seeing how many times you reach out to your BFF and wanting to do something, and what are we doing tonight? Let's party, let's do this, let's play video games, let's go see a movie, whatever it is. How many times have I as a person, or you as a person, thought about, well, geez, I'm the person who's always initiating this. What's the point? Why am I doing all this? If I didn't do this, this person wouldn't even be around. And so I guess quantifying is a way that we're taking evidence, we're using evidence-based deductive reasoning, right? We're deducing based on the evidence provided. And then the only issue with that is we're not taking into account the other person's situation, right? And I think back to, there's a bunch. I'm not going to call anybody out or say anybody's name, but there is a constant, sick, they got tunes and they're smoking weed. This is the best. This crew's tight. What a tight friend crew. We need some iron lung crew in here, though. There's some coughers. They need some work. How many times have I done that, right? I can think of it. I can think of a bunch. There has been a bunch. Wow. That's some heavy shit. The amount of times that I've reached out to somebody and then used that as based on their response or no response, use that as evidence to dictate my behavior towards them or our future together, whether that's romantic or familial or plutonic. It's all pretty serious. Oh man, that's rough. It's hard to be bummed out though right now with this crew over here. I wish I could film them, but I'm not gonna blow up their spot. Yeah, I mean, even the last romantic relationship I was in, I would say, at least on my part, even a bunch of the romantic relationships, fuck all my relationships, I've been quantifying them and using the results to judge my behavior with them and the future with them, which seems really insidious, right? Like, for example, I mean, what pops into my head is, let's say, like what I brought up before, where if my romantic partner isn't texting me right away when they wake up, good morning, and if I wake up later and text them good morning, and then they respond, and that's consistently happening, well, does that make me feel I'm quantifying that and saying, like, well, obviously I'm not important in their life because they're not doing this when they wake up. They're doing other things. Instead of quantifying it and using it on my half, where it's like, well, why do I feel like I need to? And maybe that's more of a window to what kind of person I am, where I desire that kind of behavior, or I desire that kind of connection to somebody. And I wonder, like, and so this is interesting. It feels like this podcast, at least to me, has been about the negative qualities of quantifying elements of my life, but it really is a safety mechanism. And it's a way that I have used to take the chaos of this world, of me in this world, interacting with it and with other people, and using it as evidence to reinforce my feelings. Now here's the part that I'm confused about. Am I doing that, or is it that I am Yeah, that's crazy. Is it that I'm quantifying that and judging it, or am I concerned about, oh my gosh, it's so hard to concentrate with this party going on over here? Wow, this is interesting. It's funny, I haven't even smoked weed in weeks. Mm. Yeah, I wonder if getting older or like moving forward is really just like starting to give a fuck, starting to like be concerned with the future or where you're going or how people view you. Hmm. Hmm. Huh. Yeah, I don't know. That was some heavy shit that I was talking about with quantifying relationships. And you know what? Like, I just want to apologize to people out there that know me in a personal way. That um, this is definitely. I'm not sure if other people do this or not, but it's definitely was a was a safety mechanism, right? Like it feels like it's a way to keep myself safe from being used, and I have to imagine it's something that I learned from childhood, right? Like monitoring people and taking stock of how they feel or what they do, versus just being my own person and moving throughout the world. And if somebody, I just maybe there's this part of me that doesn't have this ability to tell if somebody's being real or not, or is really invested in me, or is really loves me, or is really my friend. And when I think back to my life and instances in my life, there has been a lot of times where I've mistaken people's intentions, where I just have put them in a place where, not when I look back on their behavior, I'm like, well, why did I give them so much power over me? If did I not see this? Like, did I just like neglect seeing their behavior and how they were towards me in order just to have somebody close in my life? Whether that's romantic, blood relations, or just like platonic friendships. Um, and I'd be very interested in hearing however many people, if people even feel that way too, like, and about not being able to see if people are fake, to make it sound easier, if people are being real. So I don't know. Yeah, I don't really know. I know one thing's for sure. I'm probably gonna go over to those kids over there and give them some music recommendations for smoking weed too. I feel like I got pretty good back catalog on my Spotify for some hammers. I mean, I don't even think they know about Collie Buds. I mean, if you don't know about Collie Buds, you need to get your shit together if you're smoking weed. Um, hmm. So yeah, I wonder if that is a safety mechanism that I've been using. This idea of quantifying behavior, whether it's my own behavior or it's other people's behavior. And I wonder if this is tied to the fact that maybe I don't have this ability to see or to be able to read people fully. And I mean, it feels like I do, but why else would I quantify? Maybe I just don't trust my gut feeling. Maybe that's it. And I know there's part of it's wrapped up in this idea of like I crave community, I crave family, because it feels like I grew up without one. Whether that's real trauma or not, I don't know. It just feels like what's been making the most sense to me. And so, and it most sense in like explaining my behavior and letting people, men or women, get into a position in my life to be able to wreak havoc, to give them access to sensitive and tender parts of me. People that shouldn't have, right? Like, essentially, if my life was a carton of eggs, I was handing them over to amateur jugglers, People, and what they were saying was, I'm a professional juggler, don't you worry, I can make this work for us. And I just neglected the fact that they were wearing blindfolds, or that they just weren't paying attention, or whatever the analogy you want to use to make it seem funny for amateur juggling. So here's my question to myself. Am I straight up, am I just like right now learning how to follow my heart? Is that what's happening in this world? I wonder how many of us are in this position right now that are this whole spiritual awakening that Instagram's telling me that's happening right now. Is that what's happening? Like, we're just starting to realize, like, oh, like, it's important that you pay attention to what's happening outside of you, but for the most part, listen to what's happening inside of you, because that's what's really happening, right? Like, this whole idea of your emotions aren't just emotions, they're telling you things. That fucking blew me away when I heard it the first time. That, like, I thought emotions were just things that I was feeling that were causing me turmoil or making me feel amazing. But in actuality, it's feedback, right? It's all the senses in my body, right? My intuition, my instinct telling me, hey, you know what? This is a safe place. Hey, you know what? You should probably get the hell out of here. Yeah, I feel like I gotta do a lot of thinking about this situation. So maybe this is part one of quantifying art, quantifying data. Maybe that's what this podcast should be about, quantifying data. I think that one thing that is true for me is that I'm moving past this idea of right or wrong in the things that I'm doing, because I'm really super dedicated to like becoming better and treating people better, and those people including myself. I'm really dedicated to that, and beyond having this be like some weird Coach Chris moment or some bullshit therapy session, I think it really comes down to this idea of like why I started recording these and why I'm talking to myself out in the open here under the sky in one of my favorite painting spots, right? I need to come back here. I think I'm going to come back here Monday, unless it's pouring rain, and do some painting again. But it's this idea of if I'm honest with myself, if I'm true with my intentions, then it has to be good, right? If I'm not doing this because I feel like I'm going to make $1 million, or I'm not doing this because it's going to get me laid or whatever. I'm doing this because I think it's going to make me a better person. And I just want to understand myself more. What do I do? Yeah, I hope this wasn't confusing. It seemed like it started off and I was a mile a minute, and then like the universe does, it introduces something, right? And I think that's the thing I love about painting is I'll go to a spot and I'll have an idea what I'm going to be doing or what I'm about, and at some point in the painting the universe interjects and says something to me, and immediately I'm forced into another way of thinking, and I'm given this opportunity to see a greater view of what's actually happening. Sometimes that's just visual, but most of the time it's internal. And when I think about it, that's what happened tonight, right? I was on this thing with quantifying and making money, and then all of a sudden these young whippersnappers came over and started smoking weed and jamming tunes. Oh, they're dancing too. Fuck, I love these guys. I wish I was an old man. I'd go up and rip it up with them. But Grandpa can't go over there and smoke weed with the youngins. Not tonight, at least. But yeah, the universe brought them over here. Or maybe they didn't bring them over here just for me, but the moment happened and it just sent me in a different direction, making me realize how much I quantify. So I'm going to try tomorrow. I straight up am going to try all day tomorrow just to live out of my intuition in my heart and see how not quantifying goes, right? Just living by gut. And maybe that's what part 2 will be like. It'll be my dissertation on living by the gut, living by the heart. Huh. Wish me luck, everybody. I think I'm going to need it. This quantifying seems pretty ingrained right now, so yeah, it's crazy. All the, what's coming flooding back to me are all the instances of me quantifying people's behavior to me and like making a judgment on how they feel about me based on the data that I have that I've quantified that's good or bad. Wow, that's fucked up. That's definitely got to be some sort of trauma. If there are any therapists up in there, please diagnose me from this episode. I could use your help. Yeah. But, I mean, I think that's what it is. We make decisions in our life for whatever reason. And if we have to trick ourselves through quantifying it, you know what, it's like that thing where, however, there's been so many people that have come up to me and asked, should I break up with this person? Should I stay with them? Should I break up with them? And then I got to the point where I was just saying to people, you know what, like, you already know the answer, you're just afraid to admit it to yourself. Should I leave this job? Should I stay? Should I do this? Should I do that? You already know. It's just the fear of the unknown that's stopping you from doing it. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Until the next time, this is Christopher Cape. I'm going to try to show you the moon here. I hope I don't have to get copyright for this music that's playing in the background. Anyways, good luck with your painting. Good luck with your life. We'll talk soon. This is episode 2, Quantifying Life. Peace.